He froze the second he saw Owen standing there, takeout bags in hand, eyes wide with heartbreak. The man I was with tried to pull away, panicked, but I held him tight, never once breaking eye contact with my husband. "Don't stop," I whispered, in his ears. "He won't do anything. He never does." And just like that, I let it happen. Right there on the couch Owen had worked tirelessly to afford, while the man who had given me everything watched me give myself to someone else. I'm Emily Steinfield. I don't say this proudly, but I was never in love with my husband like that. The first time he noticed I was distracted, eyeing other men, he asked me if something was wrong. We were in the middle of a grocery run, Owen pushing the cart filled with his usual sensible purchases: pasta, chicken, vegetables. Everything always so predictable, so reliable. And that was the problem, wasn't it? There was no thrill in his love, just stability. That wasn't enough anymore. "Are you okay, babe?" Owen asked, his voice soft and concerned, his hand warm on my back. His tenderness, his attention, was what had made me stay at first. But now, it felt like a weight. A reminder of the life I'd built, a life that I could rely on but no longer desired. I forced a smile. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just thinking. I wasn't thinking about anything important. I was imagining what it would be like to feel wanted again, truly wanted, like I was someone special, someone who mattered. I wasn't getting that from Owen anymore. I was, however, getting it from someone else. Tyler. Tyler was different. I'd never even seen him outside the gym, a complete stranger. But he looked at me in a way that made my pulse race. The way his eyes lingered on me just a bit too long made my imaginations run wild. It should have been the end of it. Owen, he was the kind of man who always put me first. I didn't need to ask, and he'd do whatever it took to make me happy. But it was too much. I couldn't breathe under his love. He was the perfect husband, but that perfection made me resentful. I wanted passion, something unpredictable, something that made me feel alive. Owen could never give me that. So, I started, pulling away, but not in a cruel way, just in small, subtle ways. I stopped initiating affection, let the silence between us grow a little longer. He noticed, of course, but I always had a way of pretending it was nothing. He never asked questions that would make me admit it. Think he was afraid of the answer? I began noticing men more. Men with fire, with confidence, men who weren't predictable. I'd catch glimpses of them in stores, at work, at the gym, and they were always different from Owen. They weren't safe, they weren't steady. They were bold, and I wanted that. I let myself have little moments of excitement. Flirtations, compliments. It started out harmless. I told myself that it was nothing, just fun. I never thought Owen would find out. He trusted me, after all, and I needed that trust. I didn't want to lose the comfort he gave me, but I also didn't want to stay in a relationship that had become so suffocating. The first real crack came at a dinner party. Owen was deep in conversation with his work colleagues, lost in some project or another. I stood near the bar, trying to blend in. My dress was bound to get attention, and it did. One of Owen's colleagues approached with a smile and a casual introduction. But something about the way he looked at me, it felt different. I was flattered, and instead of brushing him off, I entertained the attention. I laughed at his jokes, let him stand a little too close, let him compliment me without making a move to stop him. Owen didn't notice. He was too busy in his conversation. And that's when I realized he never did. He didn't see the cracks in our life, the gaps in his love that I was trying to fill. I kept talking to the man, feeding off his interest, feeling the rush of someone wanting me, really wanting me. The flirtations escalated. Subtle touches here and there, a lingering glance. Owen never noticed, and I didn't feel guilty. Maybe a little guilty, but not enough to stop it. I felt alive. I convinced myself my husband was right there. I wasn't doing anything wrong, not really. I hadn't crossed a line. But inside, I knew I was testing my limits. How far could I go? How much of Owen could I take before he finally saw the truth? That I didn't need him the way I used to. That stability, that safety. It was all I needed, but not all I wanted. Nothing else happened that night. But it sparked something inside me. The deeper I went into this new world, the more I realized how far I was willing to push things. I had grown tired of Owen's constant, unwavering devotion. It wasn't love anymore. It was a form of obligation. His duty to me, not passion. And passion was what I craved. One evening, when Owen was working late again, preparing for some meeting as usual, I found myself at a bar, just having a drink to kill time. I wasn't even trying to pick anyone up. But when I spotted him across the room, I felt that familiar surge of excitement. Tyler. He didn't waste any time. He walked over, confident, as if he knew exactly what he wanted. I should have told him I was married, but something inside me hesitated. I didn't want to go back to my quiet, predictable life just yet. Not tonight. "Hey," Tyler greeted me with a knowing smile, and I felt my heart race. "Mind if I join you?" I let him sit. I didn't care if it was a bad idea. I didn't care about anything except the way he made me feel. We talked casually at first, but then it quickly turned flirtatious. His hand brushed mine under the table, and my skin tingled. I looked away, pretending I didn't feel the pull. I could still hear Owen's voice in the back of my head. Owen would never take such risks. He was too safe, too predictable. But Tyler? Tyler was electric. As the night wore on, the drinks flowed, and I found myself leaning in closer, drawn to him. He didn't try to hide his interest, and neither did I. I knew exactly what he wanted. "Why are you here alone?" he asked, his voice low, his breath warm against my ear. "I'm not alone," I replied, my heart pounding, though I knew exactly what I was doing. But it felt good to let go for once. He didn't answer immediately, instead letting his gaze fall to my lips. And I knew what was about to happen. I didn't stop him. I didn't even pull back when his lips brushed mine. It was soft, tentative, at first, but soon. His hands were on my waist, pulling me closer. The world around us faded. I wasn't thinking about Owen anymore, or the consequences. I was lost in the moment. I knew it was wrong, that I was crossing a line I'd promised myself I would never cross. But at the same time, I felt alive in a way I hadn't in years. By the time I left the bar, I knew I had made a choice. And I also knew it wasn't the end. I could feel it in my bones. I was done pretending. Owen's trust, his devotion, none of it was enough anymore. And I wasn't ready to face that yet. The next day, Owen acted like nothing had changed. He came home early from work, greeted me with his usual smile, kissed my cheek, and told me he loved me. And I, like the hypocrite I had become, smiled back. I couldn't let him see what I'd done, what I was planning. But things had shifted in me. That night with Tyler had unlocked something in me that I couldn't undo. Owen wasn't enough. He'd never been enough. And deep down, I knew this was just the beginning. Owen couldn't save me from myself. No matter how much he loved me, it wasn't the kind of love I needed anymore. The kind of love that made you feel seen, heard, desired. No, I needed more. I needed a love that burned. That's when I started making my moves. I invited Tyler over, casual at first. Just another drink, just another conversation. But I didn't leave that night without him. And as I laid in his arms, for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was suffocating. I felt alive. I didn't think about Owen, even when I kissed Tyler again. I didn't think about the man who had given me everything, his time, his patience, his unwavering love. All I could think about was the freedom I felt, the excitement of knowing someone wanted me this way, without the safety net of stability. But even as I embraced that freedom, I knew it wouldn't last. No secret stays hidden forever. And when Owen found out, and I knew he would, there would be consequences. But for now, I didn't care. Until one night, Owen had decided to come home early with dinner. Tyler was over. I was too caught up to hear the front door open. And then it happened. Owen stood there watching me hold on to another man. I barely got out a "don't stop" as Tyler rushed to get off. I didn't let him. I held him tighter. The rest of it is a blur now. Him walking out the door, me following him, rambling in between how it was all his fault and crying uncontrollably. Owen didn't say a word. He filed for divorce the following week. I was too proud to admit anything for a month or so. But when Tyler cut me off after the news spread in our neighborhood, it sunk in. The silence that followed was suffocating. Most of our friends cut me off. The few I managed to keep in my life, I had to convince them through lies. It's been a year. I think I finally realized what I had done. I sit alone in the quiet Owen used to fill. With his laughter, his routines, his unconditional love I never truly appreciated. I never needed more. I just needed to not ruin the one person who actually loved me